Happy Tuesday, everyone. You are joining Teresa Harper, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon in the U.S. So hope everybody had a wonderful week. It's been busy as usual for me. We had costume fittings for the Nutcracker already. That was tonight, and now we're here to see what's up on our Tuesday Night Live. All right, so let's go ahead and go over a few things. See if we can get this up so I can see who's on. Go ahead and comment. Let me know you're here. All right, so we've got tonight this birthday Piggy. This is the stamp set, and this is in the annual 2022-2023 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And the coordinating dies, Playful Piggy, are coming on September 1st as part of the Perfect Partners promotion. That will be available from the 1st of September through the 30th of September, or while supplies last. Once the dies are gone, the bundles and the dies will be gone, and you will still be able to get the stamp set through the end of May 2023, but right now, coming on Thursday, you will be able to get the dies. So if you like this set, I wouldn't wait. I would get right on that when everything goes live. Okay, there we go. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Lynette. Hello, Laura. Thanks for joining. Okay, so in addition to the birthday piggies on that Perfect Partners, we also have the Fresh Cut Flowers bundle, Apple Harvest bundle, which I showed last week. And then we've got Trimming the Tree bundle, the Yeti to Party bundle, and the Waterfall Canyon bundle. Okay, so then as a reminder, there is Stampin' Up! Is holding a World Card Making Day event on October 1st. And you can join mine and Tracy's event local, or if you can't make it to that, you can sign up and register for the online version where you can be at your own home, or you can watch it later because it will be recorded, and if you register, you will have access to that. Okay, so that's that. I have one more announcement. Stampin' Up! Has announced that beginning September 1st through the month of September, the 28th of September, they will be holding some weekly specials. And we don't know what those items are. They will announce them on the 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd, I believe it is. And then those items will be on sale for that week and that week only. And then the next week, there will be other deals to follow. So we have no more information other than that, but you'll need to check the online ordering system at stampinup.com on Thursday the 1st, and you'll be able to see what is the weekly deal for this week. All right. So let's go ahead and get started tonight. We are, along with this birthday Piggy bundle, we are going to be using this Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper. This is a host exclusive in the mini catalog. And it's a large pack of paper. You get 48 sheets. There are 12 double-sided designs in the pack. You get 4 sheets of each of the 12 designs. And I'm just going to quickly flip through these. I've shown them before, but just so you know, because we are going to be using these. Here's that pack of paper. And this is a host rewards. So with $18 in Stampin' host rewards, you can get this pack of paper for free. Now, how do you get your Stampin' rewards? You get those by either hosting a workshop of at least $150 or more, or by placing an order of $150 or more. And if you do the $150, then you would pay $3, which would be the difference between the $18 in host rewards and what your $15 that you would earn on $150. If you have any questions, be sure to message me. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our projects tonight. I've got a couple of cute cards for you, or at least I think they're cute. I hope you do too. So I'm going to pull our pieces out here. We've got quite a few little scraps here. We need some, our card base is Poppy Parade, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. Let's go ahead and burnish that and get that taken care of. We've got a piece of the Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper, and this piece of Designer Series paper is cut at 5 by 2 1/4. Then we've got a piece of the Celebrate Everything. Again, this piece is 3/4 by 3 3/4. I've got a small piece of the Tea Boutique Designer Series paper. This is the 6 by 6 Designer Series paper. This is a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. Then I also need a scrap of that Tea Boutique that is cut at approximately, what did I do this? I thought I wrote it down. I'm looking, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, so this is about 1 3/4 by 3/4 is where I started with this. Okay, so we've got that scrap. Then you're going to need some scraps of Poppy Parade, Granny Apple Green. Need a little, this is another piece that we need for our card. And this is Early Espresso, 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. These are going to be our layers for our card here. And then we've got some scraps. You're going to need scraps in black, Shaded Spruce, Poppy Parade, and Crushed Curry. Okay, so we've got those. And then for the inside of the card, you'll need a inside piece, a basic white that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And I've already laid a piece of the Tea Boutique paper and stamped the birthday cake from the birthday Piggy here, and put one of the sentiments for our inside just to save us some time. Okay. You're also going to need a scrap of basic white for your stamping and for your sentiment. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on our layering pieces. This is actually a card sketch that was done by Marissa Alvarez from the Kitchen Table Stamper. It's a card sketch, and she put this out the other day. So this is the sketch that I'm using. So if you want to take a screenshot, that gives you all of the layers that you'll need. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and place this on our card base, but before we do that, we need to do a little stamping. I almost forgot my background stamp. So we're going to take some background stamps, and I've grabbed these fond of autumn, actually. I'm using this little acorn and this leaf, and they really go nicely with this designer series paper that we've pulled out. So we're going to go ahead and stamp these, and we're going to get some Poppy Parade ink. And I'm just going to take my Poppy Parade ink. I'm going to turn on a light here. See how that goes. See if that's enough light or if that's too much for you guys. So we're just going to randomly stamp around the edges. And I'm going to use both images, so I want to make sure that I leave room for my leaf. And then I'm going to ink that up again in the Poppy Parade. And I'm rotating my stamp back and forth so that all of my images do not look the same. Okay, and we need a leaf over here. And maybe a partial. Okay, and we'll see how that looks. Can always go back and add more, but we can't take it off. So we're going to put this piece here. I think I would like a leaf right here. Okay. So I'm going to add this to my card right there. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. Okay, so we're just going to place that on our card. I'm going to try and put just about an even border around on 3 sides. Okay, and with the liquid glue, I can kind of scoot that in place. Then I'm going to take my early espresso piece, and I actually cut my early espresso out with the stitched rectangle dies, and I've used the 4th from the largest for that, just to give it a little added interest. But you could simply cut your early espresso if you don't have those and you didn't want to use them. Then you could just cut a piece that is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to put this about right here. You can move it as close or as far over as you wish. Remember, when you're following a sketch, it is just an idea. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put my crushed curry tea boutique piece of paper first. This is the 1/2 inch by 4 inch. And I'm putting this one down first so that I make sure that I leave a little bit of the early espresso showing. It's easier for me to place it if I do this one first. And then I'm going to put my pool party right above the crushed curry. Okay, and I am actually going to line these 2 up on the side there and lay that down. Okay, so there's all of our layers. Now we just need to make our focal image. Okay. So we're going to take a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock, which I don't think I actually knocked that out. Hang on for 1 second. You need a scrap of Poppy Parade. And with that scrap of Poppy Parade, you're going to cut the wagon, and you're also going to cut a set of leaves from that. Okay. Then from crushed curry and Granny Apple Green, we're going to also cut a set of the leaves. And then we need a scrap of shaded spruce, and we're going to cut some leaves from that. But I've already done that. From the black, we're going to cut this piece. And we're going to cut the wheels for the wagon. Okay. And you can get all those pieces. And, oh, there's my shaded spruce right there. Okay. So we've got those. And then we're going to glue our black wheels and our handle to our red wagon, Poppy Parade wagon, and we'll have this. Here's all of our leaves. We've got those, okay, so we've already cut those. From a scrap of the crushed curry tea boutique, you're going to cut the little bandana out of that. And we've got that. Okay. So let's set all of these pieces aside. And then we're going to do our piggy. So you're going to need the pig that has the birthday balloon. And I've pre-stamped one, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did, because I pre-stamped it, because if you don't, then the ink doesn't have enough time to dry. And we're using Petal Pink Stampin' blends, and I didn't want anything to run. So I'm using the Stamparatus, and the reason that I'm using the Stamparatus is because I want a nice bold image. And I was having just a tiny bit of trouble getting a real crisp image. So I thought, well, let's just use the Stamparatus, give that some nice even pressure, and then if I decide that it's not what I want, which this one turned out perfectly, then I can re-stamp it. So the Stamparatus is always a good idea. All right, so we've got that. From basic white, we need to cut this image, this die image. But of course, before you cut that, you would want to stamp this little birthday piggy. So I might be cutting this super close. So we're gonna do this little piggy says happy birthday. Let me grab a larger slice of paper here. And then we'll get that Memento black ink. And I'm going to cut this, or I'm going to stamp this. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to do it closer to the left than to the right. I'll cut that out and run it through my mini cut and emboss machine. And that's what we'll have. And now we're ready to color our image in. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take the previously dried one. I'm going to grab my Stampin' blends. We're going to start with SU 1000. Right here, SU 1000. And I'm going to color in his little snout, color in a little bit of the ear here. And that's it for SU 1000. Then I'm going to take the dark petal pink and I'm going to go underneath the ear and up the ear here. I want just a little, oh, you know what I forgot? I'll do it here in a second. And I want some dark down here on his leg where there would be a shadow, and under his arm, and at the crook of his leg there. I want a little bit on his tail. Let's go back with that SU 1000. It's important to do this first. I'm just going to put a little pink cheek there. And then I'm going to go with my light petal pink, and I'm going to blend in all those colors and finish up my little piggy here. But if you don't do the cheek part first, then you will end up with an alcohol looking mark later that you don't want. So be sure to put that darker cheek color in before. And we'll finish that up. And there's our little pig. Whoops, I forgot his arm. That needs to be dark over here on this side because he would be shadowed. I'm going to use dark smoky slate for his hooves. And I'm just going to dab that so that it doesn't run because those are real small areas. And then for the balloon, I'm taking light and dark Poppy Parade, and I'm going to start with my dark. And I'm just going to go around my edge here, down here a little bit, and up on the top. And then I'm going to take the light Poppy Parade, and I'm going to finish coloring that and blending in that dark with the light. Okay, and I'm going to leave that the bright shine, the shiny spot white, so that it looks like it's got light on it. For the birthday cake here, we're going to start with a dark pool party. And I'm going to color the bottom layer of the cake. And I'm going to color the candle on the top layer, the very top. And then I'm going to fill the rest of it in with light pool party. Okay. For the flame, I'm using a Stampin' Right marker. I'm going to use the brush tip of mine because my other tip doesn't have a lot of ink in it, and I'm just going to color in that flame. And then I'm going to use a dark sea foam for the plate, which really doesn't even matter because by the time we get done you're not going to see the plate, but there it is. Okay, so then I would take my coordinating die and run that through the mini boss. And I've already done that. So here's our little piggy. All right, we are ready to finish and assemble. Here. Okay. So we're going to take our wagon. Oh, I forgot to tell you one step here. You're going to take this 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inch piece of the crushed curry, and you're going to put this in your cutting machine and put your grass right at the top. This is also from the little piggies, and run that through. It doesn't cut the bottom. This one doesn't cut the bottom, so you want to make sure you put this at the top so you have the right depth. And then when you get that done, then you'll have this piece, and this is going to be our straw. Okay, so when I started doing this card, I thought, oh, I'll put my pig in the wagon, and then I went, wait a minute, that looks kind of dumb. It looks like he's sitting in midair. So I thought, oh, I need something in there, and so I decided to put a hay bale in my wagon. So we're going to take and flip our wagon over. And I'm going to run a little bit of glue right inside these two lines right here at the top and the second rung of the wagon. And then I can just add this and maneuver that so it looks like my hay is kind of sticking over the top. And I've got this little piece I don't like, so I'm just going to trim that off. So I don't like the way it looks. Now you can do this step or you cannot, but I kind of didn't want my piggy sitting mid-air. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my pig in the top here. But I'm going to cut off just a little bit of this bottom area right here because I don't want this showing. So I'm going to round that up a little bit. And I'm going to go around his tail just a little bit and take some of that off. Just some tiny pieces. And then I can add my pig to my wagon. And it'll look like he's sitting on that hay bale. So I'm just going to take and put some liquid glue. Oh, thanks, Lynette. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of glue there. And we're just going to stick him in here like so. And now I have one piece. And that is ready to add to our card. Except we have one more thing. I almost forgot his adorable little neckerchief here. So we're going to take and put just a tiny bit of glue here. And I'm going to angle this so it goes right at his neckline here at the corner there. It's going to go a little bit over his arm there, or his leg, whatever you call that on a pig. And there we have our happy birthday little piggy. Okay, so let's bring back in our card base. And we're going to turn this over because we're going to pop him up. So we're going to take some dimensionals. And we're just going to add these. to the back of our image, and I'm going to go ahead and reinforce those pieces coming together and use the Stampin' Dimensionals to make that happen. Then I'm going to need some minis, because the minis work better in the wheels. And then I'm going to take the edge of the mini. I want just a little bit for the handle here. Actually, I'm going to cut one of those minis in half. And I think, nope, not even that's going to work. That's still too, I need just a tiny little piece here. So I'm going to cut just a little piece from the edge. And that's going to hold my handle together, or hold my handle up. Okay, so we can take those backings off of those pieces. And then I'm going to put this, my wheels, right down here. I'm going to put the edge of my wagon with the edge of the pool party. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down. Now, I'm going to take those leaves that I have. And I've got the 4 colors. Okay. And I'm going to take and I'm going to cut them apart. Okay, and I'm going to do that with all of them. And then I'll have one of each, 2 of each color, but in all the different sizes, okay? So now I can take one small and one large of a different color. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of glue to the back. And I'm going to stick this in here because it's fall and we have to have some fall leaves. I'm going to cut a little bit of this stem off because it'll be a little bit long based on where I put my Stampin' Dimensionals. I want to make sure I can put that down in there, and I just don't need all that stem. So I'm going to put those together right there. And then I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green and my Shaded Spruce, and I'm going to put those together. But instead of putting them this way, I'm going to turn them the other direction. So I'm going to take and have the big one on the bottom again, facing the other direction. So that it looks like that, rather than pointing the other way. It's going to point to the left instead of the right. Let me use some directions so you can understand what I'm trying to say. And then this little Shaded Spruce will kind of point to the right. And there we have that. So the final piece for this then is to add our sentiment. So we're going to take this little birthday piggy, we're going to stick this right up here, and I'm going to put that right about here, just so that his snout is right there at the saying. And again, I'm going to use some liquid glue for that. I want this to be flat because I really want my focus to be on my piggy. Because who wouldn't want a birthday card with this adorable little piggy? I think it's so cute. Okay, so that is our first card finished on the outside. So then we're going to take And we're going to use this. And to just get this birthday cake, I took this stamp. Show you what I did. I took this stamp and I took the black Stampin' Right marker and I took the brush tip and I put my piece of paper in there. And then I'm just going to ink up just the birthday cake and the plate with my Stampin' Right marker. And then I'll give it a huff. And then just give it a breath. And then stamp that down. And then I've got just the birthday cake if you clean your stamp first, which I didn't. So you need to make sure you're working with a clean stamp. Don't do what I did. Okay. So now we can add this to the inside of our card. And there we have a finished birthday card that is just as cute as it can be for fall. All right, and for our envelope, I took and stamped those leaf and acorn in the corner in early espresso and crushed curry, and then did one on each edge of the flap, because no naked envelopes. So there we are. What do you think of the first project? I'm so glad you love it, Tracy. Thanks. Thanks. All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so let me clean up just a little bit and we will move on to our second card, which is a fun fold card. Those out of the way, get these out of the way. We're going to need some of those same Stampin' blends that we used earlier. Don't need all of them, but I'm going to go ahead and grab them out for now. Drop these back in here, get them out of the way. All right, let's go to project number 2. And there we go. All right, so for project number 2, we've got a card base that is 5.5 by 7, and we're going to put this into our Simply Scored tool. Of course, you could use your trimmer, and we're going to score this at 1 3/8, and then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees and score it at 1 3/8. Okay, so we've got that, our card base now. And I'm going to bring over the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm going to show you how I did this part. I'm going to use the brick and mortar embossing folder. And it's a 3D embossing folder, so we're going to use 1 and 4 as our plates. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this in the embossing folder, but we're only going to emboss on this first part right to this second score line here. I've got the first score line here, the second score line's here. I only want to emboss to that first score line. Okay, you don't want to go over, trust me. And then we're going to put this in, put it on our sandwich. Bring in the big boss here. Make sure I'm not running over on the edges. Run it in crooked. I don't want to ruin my embossing folder. So I've got that. And then I need to emboss this other flap. So I've got most of it embossed, but now I need to emboss this piece. So I'm going to stick this back in this way. I'm going to have most of this hanging out of my folder. Again, I'm going to go to my score line, and I'm going to try to line up my bricks so that they look like they're a continuation. And once I get that in place, I'm going to lay that down, close up my folder without moving my paper, and then I'm going to run this through the machine. Okay. I'm going to stick my embossing folder in with the piece at the front here. The fold at the front. And I don't have to run it all the way through because my embossing folder isn't all the way. Okay, so now I have a fully embossed piece of cardstock. Okay, so now I can go ahead and I can see on the back where my score lines are. And if you need to rescore, you can. We're going to fold that one over, and then we're going to find the score line over here, making sure that my edges are even here, and then I'm going to fold that down, and this is going to be my card base. Okay. Then for my other pieces, I've got a piece of Pacific Point. And this piece is 2 3/4 by 5.5 inches. Okay, and I'm going to put this in the middle. I recommend that you do it this way so that everything lines up first. We're going to take this and we're going to put it in the middle between these score lines as best we can. Then I'm going to take some liquid glue. And on the left side, I'm going to put some liquid glue along the Pacific Point, and I'm going to put it right along the edge of the pool party card base here, just like that. And then I'm going to close this over and press it down, just like that. I'm going to open this up and give it a good press from the back side, just to make sure that that ink all catches. Okay? And then did I put, yep, I did put that piece of Designer Series paper away that I needed. Okay, let me find that piece. I think this is the right measurement. Let me double check. I put it away. Okay, so this piece is supposed to be 1 1/4 by 5.5. Okay. And this one is not 5.5. Let's make it 5.5. Okay, and then we're going to put this down the center here. I found it easier to center this after I had my cardstock already adhered. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Place this in the center. Try to put it even. Border on both sides. And I need to move that over. Come on. Okay, there we go. So this is what we have so far. All right. Then for my inside piece, I'm going to use a piece of Pacific Point, and this piece is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then I've got a 3" by 5" piece of basic white, and I've already put my sentiment, and I stamped part of this pig stamp, just a little bit of it down here, and colored it. I used petal pink, some light smoky slate, or some crumb cake, and then Poppy Parade for my flowers, with a little bit of a crushed curry Stampin' Right marker in the center there. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together. I'm just going to center that up. Okay. And then this is going to go in my card with an area over here, because I don't want this to show when I open it. Okay. So I'm just going to center this even on 3 sides here. Again, to the top, bottom, and the left. And then I'm going to add this into my card base. Okay, and then before I give that a good press, I'm just going to make sure it doesn't show. And by doing this double layer with the Pacific Point and the basic white, you'll be able to write with no issues. Okay, so far we have this of our card. Then you're going to need a piece of basic white, and I have cut this piece of basic white with the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used the largest square there. And this is going to go on our front. Oh, and apparently I didn't cut my other piece. I'm going to have to do that. Gosh darn it. I thought I had this one completely prepped. But apparently, oh, maybe not, because I did those pool party pieces. I did have that. Where did I set those down? I had them right here. Was I going to do... Maybe I was going to let you guys choose if I was doing pool party or Pacific Point. Okay, well, this layer needs to be oh, I was doing basic white. Huh. Huh, huh, huh. Basic white. That's what I've got written down. Basic white. Okay. So we need a piece of basic white that is 2 15/16 by 2 15/16. So we're going to cut this at 2 15/16. So that's 1 tick mark just before the 3. So you've got 7/8, and this is the 15/16. So we're going to cut that right there. And then we're going to repeat that to get the square. Okay. So we've got that. Right. Now with this square, we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. Whoops. Sorry about that. So we're going to bring in some scrap paper. And actually, let's just use this. That'll be easiest. Okay, we need some Pool Party, some crumb cake, and then we're going to need a Post-it note. Okay, so I've got a Post-it note. And I'm just going to take, and I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to anchor this so it doesn't move. So I don't want it to move. So I'm just going to use a bit of temporary adhesive, and I'm going to line this up on the diagonal using my grid paper, making sure that all my points hit a line. Okay. And I'm going to take my piece of Post-it note here, and I'm going to line that up. I think I want that to go up on this larger line right here, about that much. I'm going to get my blending brush, my crumb cake, and I'm just going to ink that up a little bit to make it look like some ground. Okay. And then I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to lay that back down over that spot. And then I'm going to get some Pool Party and some Pacific Point. So grab my Pool Party. I'm going to start with Pool Party. I'm going to ink that up. Okay. And I'm going to go to a little bit of Pacific Point. And on the very top, because this is a pretty dark color, I'm just going to go over the top like so. Just to add a little bit of extra blue in the sky. And that'll bring our colors all together. So now we have our scene set for our images. Okay, so then we're going to attach this. Let me back my grid paper. I'm going to use my grid paper to line this all up so that I get everything all nice and straight. Okay. And then I'm going to attach my pieces, my 2 triangles here. I'm going to layer those up. Okay. And this is going to go on the front of my card. Now we need to color our little piggy. So let's get our pieces. This time we're going to use our little scooter pig, which I know I pre-stamped him in the black so that I could color him up. What did I do with him? Oh, here he is right here. Okay. So we've got this. Okay. So I'm going to color the pig just like I did last time. The same colors. And I'm going to save us some time because it's going kind of long. So this is going to be the SU 1000 light and dark petal pink on the pig. I'm going to use the light and dark pool party on the, what did I do with the other pool party one? On the happy birthday. So to do this, what I did was I started with the light. And I'm trying to go kind of around that black because the light colors sometimes will make the memento bleed. So I'm very lightly going over. Okay, so then I'll have my pool party sign. I'm going to color my light and dark smoky slate here. For my little scooter, I'm going to color these pieces here in the light smoky slate. Like so. And then I'm going to color seat. Okay. And then I'm going to go back with the dark smoky slate and I'm going to just put in a little bit of a shadow right there. Okay. Then also with the dark smoky slate, I'm going to take and color the tires here. And then I'm going to go back with the light basic black. And I'm just going to color in part of that wheel there where it would be shadowed. And then I'm going to blend those two together. Okay. And then I'm going to take the light crumb cake and fill in those pieces, and I'm going to put a little bit of light crumb cake at the bottom here just to make it look like he's driving on the ground. Take the light poppy parade and I'm going to color in, whoops, I forgot this part. This is supposed to be light smoky slate. Okay. And then we're putting the light poppy parade on this part of the scooter. And then I'll go back with the dark poppy parade. And just put a little bit where I think it would be darker. Okay. All right. And then to fill in these little confetti pieces, I used my Stampin' Right markers because the tips on them are a lot smaller. So you can just take and color whatever in the colors that you want. I stuck with one shape, one color, using Poppy Parade, crushed curry. But you could do these however you wanted. I've got pool party. Okay, and then I've got all the triangles, and I did those. Let's do those in Pacific Point. Okay, then you're going to run that through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and you're going to have your little Piggy ready to go. Okay. So now we're ready to add this to our card. So I'm just going to take and pop this up on dimensionals. But before I do that, I'm going to add this piece to my card. So I'm going to line this up again. And I'm going to bring back in my grid paper, because I want to make sure when I put this down, I put it straight. So line this up. Using my grid paper, I'm up one grid here, and I've still got a grid there. And then if I line this up on that center line, this line, and this line, this line, and this line, when I put it down, it will all be straight. Okay? But I'm going to glue this on this side. So I'm going to take a look here to see where that's at. And I'm only going to put glue on this corner. Okay. And I'm going to line that up again. On those lines. And when I like where it's at, I'm going to give it a press. And I'm going to open that up. And press on the back. And now I've got this flip-flap card. Okay? Now we're ready for our Stampin' Dimensionals. So we're going to take our little pig here. Put some dimensionals in various places to pop him up and make him nice and solid. Okay, and I want a little mini dimensional on that headlamp. Okay, I think that should be good. And then we're going to add this to our card. I'm going to lay that down on that ground that I put down. Okay. And there is the front of our card. All right. So that's what we have. Now you could leave it like this. I went one little step further, and I'm going to have to get a piece of pool party here. Is this the piece I cut for this? Nope. Okay, I need a piece of pool party, and we're going to cut this layer at 2 1/8 inch square. So let's see if this one's big enough. Nope. 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And I'm going to add this piece to this piece. This card sketch was inspired by Kelly Atchison. That's where I got the fun fold. And of course I had to add more because I wanted this piece. She had this blank in here and I want to add this in here. So for this, I've taken some little die cuts from the Piggies. And I used the 6x6 Brights collection. And I cut out the, where did I put my little dies? I cut out the little package here, and I cut one in Granny Apple Green, Pacific Point, and Poppy Parade out of those designer series papers. And then I also cut with this matching little with this little bow die. I cut basic white, Pacific Point, and Poppy Parade. And then I've layered these packages onto this well, I'm going to put this on as a triangle, so I'm going to make sure that this is down. And then I'm going to put my packages, and I put my bows on so that I have two that are shorter. And then I turned it the other direction and made one that is taller. And I'm just going to put those down like so in the middle of here. But I have a sentiment to stamp first. So let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment that says, "Hope it's the best." I'm going to get some Memento ink here. This at a diagonal. I'm going to stamp the "Hope it's the best" like that. And then I'm going to set my presents on top of my sentiment. Like so. And you don't want too much glue because this does have cuts in it to give it some character. And then we're going to take the Pacific Point one in the portrait mode and put it right up here. So now we've got three little packages. And we're going to add this to the middle here, making sure that when we close our card you can't see it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of liquid glue there, making sure I don't put any glue in this corner because it's going to stick out just a tiny bit. I'm going to center that up like so. Close that up. And now we have our finished card. Cool, huh? All right. And for the envelope for this, I just took that same little pig that I stamped partial in the inside, and I put that on my envelope here. Okay, let's clean up just a tiny bit. And I'll bring back in that first card. Oh, and I'll show you, I made this in two colorways. So I made one with the polished pink and one with the pool party, just so that I had kind of a girl card and a boy card. Okay, so we've got that. And then we've got our cute little fall piggy here. All right. I hope that inspired you. I hope you love this bundle as much as I do. Be sure to pick that up at the beginning of September because those dies are while supplies last. Once they're gone, and they won't be back. So, and don't forget there's sales, weekly sales coming starting September 1st too. So you'll need to make sure that you check those websites. All right, everybody. Thank you for all the wonderful compliments on the cards. I'm glad you really like those. And I will see you again next Tuesday, same time. But remember, come September, the week of September 12th, I will be moving my Facebook Lives to Wednesday nights at 7. And I'll remind you again next week. All right, everybody. Thank you and good night.